So thank you to be with us tonight. And I'm Marco Cosentini, director of mudac, and I am with Jan Meschler, scientific collaborator here at mudac. And I'm very happy to have Nicole Schneider, Werner Baumhakl, Jacqueline Holzer, and Jan-Christoph Zoels with us tonight to spoke together about schools, teaching, and archive and memories of design in your institutions. So thank you very much. I'm a little bit sorry because I'm a little sick, though I'm not so reactive as usual, so excuse me, but it will be okay. And if it's okay, we can begin now. And we have 45 minutes together to talk about our subjects. And perhaps the first question for Nicole Schneider and Jacqueline Holzer. Can you give us an overview of the identity of your respective schools, the Basel Schools of Design and the Lucerne School of Design, and how this is reflected in the design program you offer? And do you have a unique value proposition that sets you apart from other universities? Perhaps the first, Nicole Schneider.
Hi, thank you for the invitation. Unique selling proposition. I'm not sure if I can answer that question, but I think actually in Basel we have bachelor, master, PhD program. Beside of that, we have several different offers. This is the workshops. Then we do have the food culture lab. We have der Tank Civic. This is an open space for exhibition, for meetings, for exchange with different students. Then we have a student lounge. Additionally, I think all our universities do have that. But I think in general, what's really specific in Basel is we have an open program. It's so-called Co-Create, where all our students can take part. In total, it's actually around 20% for the students. And they come from all different institutes. And this means usually students, when they start studying, they decide, I want to study industrial design in our case. But there with Co-Create, there is a space where they really can work together with all other students. And I think this is really specific, but I'm not sure how is it in Lucerne, to be honest. So I don't know if this is a unique selling point somehow. Yes.
Thank you. And Jacqueline?
I think Jan-Christoph will talk about the master program. I would like to give him this task, if this is okay, Jan-Christoph.
Of course.
And I would like to talk about the bachelor program because, of course, they are connected. And we do have a bachelor and master and also a PhD program, which is not so easy. As you know, you just have to find a good university that is connected with you. But I think in the bachelor program, we have spatial design, we have graphic design, we do have design management international, we do have textile design and object design. I think these are the most important ones. And they all have, I think, and this is really important, a special perspective on sustainability or regeneration, as Jan-Christoph calls it. I'm learning from my heads all the time. And this is something which is, I think, really important, that we have a kind of a focus on that. We also now will launch a new bachelor program of transformation and sustainability. The name is set now, but probably we will change it. We're just looking for a new head for that program. And I think this is also something we really would like to make a USP, a unique selling proposition. And the other thing is really nice to hear from Nicole Schneider, this kind of co-creative work. We don't call it co-creative work. We call one part of that, similar idea, collabor, collab, and the other ones reflect. And we do have also focus module. all together are summarized with this plus module, which says nothing else but all the students from all the programs, not only design, but also art and film bachelor programs come together and work together. And I think this is probably a similar idea, that it is important for the future to learn with people who think differently, who are in a completely different thought and action world. And we just have 1 semester for these different programs, and they can select what they would like to do. So we do have in Reflect about 40 different weeks, and in Collabor there are about 23, and in Focus Model we do have about 20. So they really can mix together what they like to do, and I think this is also important, that the students have the choice to make in order to find out what they want to do in the future. So this is from the bachelor program side.
Thank you. Very interesting. And perhaps Jan-Christoph, so you can continue. How do your respective program, bachelor and master, help to shape the identity of your schools?
Okay, so the master is already in its 10th or 12th year, and so we really developed quite drastically from an auteur-oriented design approach to more people-centric, to more planet-centric. And if you don't mind, I show you a short presentation with some questions and some students' work, and that actually will allow to answer some of these things. So we essentially ask questions, we engage stakeholders, we experiment, and of course we prototype interventions. We essentially ask, how might we use design to initiate change? How to invite and engage people in our design processes? How to design with humility? Understand planetary consequences? And of course, shift from sustainability, preserving the status quo, to regeneration, living maybe with less or with different means. And of course, to address risk, or address crisis, take risks, and deliver impact. And so the message is really, we care about you, the students, we care about our comments and the planet. And I think this is really the shift over the years away from the focus on the auteur-oriented design to a more planetary design approach. And so if I think about what makes us special, is that we have these integrated master programs with 4 different specializations: design, service design, digital ideation, and the newest eco-social design. And we have something like 100 students, 1/3 are part-timers, very tailored to them, and 40% are international students. But this really talks more from an administrative point of view. What's in it for the students? You ask, what's the USP? I think we are very much research-driven, developing a master over 2 years, really helping students to become experts in their field. We have a fantastic student-teacher ratio from 1 to 7. I mean, that's unheard. This is Switzerland. I mean, this is incredible. Excellent workshops. And we do very much community building. Here you see some pictures of Homo Ludens in Crisis, our project week, where we bring all these different masters together to deal with some, in a playful way, with some of these challenges ahead. Here are some of our challenges. Instead of focusing on skills or competencies, we are really oriented towards literacies. What's the environmental literacy, systems literacy, future literacy, but also how do you bring it into a political or transformational context in Switzerland and abroad. Here are some projects. One is by Magdalena Tomov, a beautiful project around patient centricity and thinking about how to bring in color psychology into hospital spaces. Or the work by Mira Dura, who now teaches in Basel, also on a regional network of ecologically sourced textiles in Switzerland. Or the project by Joel Hügli, who won several several awards, and the latest the Design Prize of Switzerland, where he looks of how to recycle, reuse some mattresses. There are over 500,000 mattresses burned in Switzerland every year. And so he found processes to take back, recycle the fibers, but also design guidelines and a prototype, which then was integrated into the production by one of the national manufacturers. Or the work by Tim and Rahel exploring artificial intelligence to explore actually how people lived in the medieval ages, why were the abdesses in the 14th century the smartest women at that time, or how a kid would experience the medieval ages, to, on the other side, Sofia Kaminska's work about option control, how to take back digital sovereignty in our device-driven times. Or on the other side, Tamjin, who did a beautiful project about reimagining educational for indigenous communities in rural India. Or last but not least, Johanna Daborskin, really thinking about how we could expand our understanding of how we live with plants and nature. So Memento Mori. These are some of these projects, and I think this gives an indication of how we have widened the explanation or the exploration in design.
Yes, it's very large. It's very interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Werner Baumhakl, could you explain how the respective program helped to shape the identity of your school?
Yes, thank you for the invitation first. It's great to be here and to have that insights not only from our school, but also from Lucerne and of course of the mudac. It's really great, this exchange. As Nicole said, it's not so easy to say what is your USP, because we are very actual at all universities like we are. We see people who studied with us, like Zoels, he's an alumni from us, or also Johanna. So that means there's always a close exchange between Swiss universities, and we're really up to date at all universities. If you would ask me what is the special thing, I would slightly switch a little bit to the Institute of Contemporary Design Practices, where Nicole and I are from, because this is a unique part, an essential part of the identity of the whole university. The new thing in our institute is that we kind of melted together 3 different study programs in one institute. It's the fashion design department, interior and scenography, and industrial design. And these are really 3 different cultures, 3 different worlds coming together. And in this construction, you have to talk about, you have to leave your comfort zone, and you really have to rethink your own perspective you normally would have from a professional side, let's say industrial design or fashion design, and find new solutions, a new way of thinking. I don't have prepared a special presentation, but I would like to give you a little insight to our website, so all the interesting people can follow up what I'm talking about. And I'm not sure if you see it right like that. So
yes,
I just
okay.
give you a brief information about the Institute Contemporary Design Practices. And that means we found a new world, and I was really struggling with some of my colleagues, because the word is not existing that, and they denied to really put it on the website. We call ourselves as a co-disciplinary work platform. What means co-disciplinary? A word that is not really existing. It means it's not only about somehow working on projects together with the content-wise, like we work together interdisciplinary or transdisciplinary. It's also about the atmosphere and the culture of the different study programs, and what that really emerging new inputs and new, let's say, perspectives out of it. So you see industrial design is here, interior architecture and fashion design. We do have a master program. Of course, we do have also a PhD program. And Jacqueline also mentioned it's not easy for the Swiss universities. We're all in the same boat for that. But that means that we offer a full service. And the other thing is that we have a close connection to research at our institute as well. And here there's the crossover mission. And as you see, for example, the project in the middle, Nicole is responsible for, that shows up really, let's say, the USP working together, fashion department as well as industrial design. So let's say this is a strong identity, but I would really, or it's hard for me to say, we're super unique from the colleagues of Lucerne or the other universities. I think we have to have, let's see, more a national view on it, that the Swiss education system is really outstanding, also within the European content, as well as, I would say, internationally. Seeing that, I think every town, every city in China is larger than the whole Switzerland. We probably also have to change our perspective on what is unique in Lucerne, what is unique in Basel. I think students can choose from a lot of programs, and I would say, having a closer look at it, you find the way you have your best heritage or your best legacy, and we work on that. For industrials and for our institute, it's called design practices, and we really mean it. Our mission is to bring people into the business of design, and that they're really able to afford their daily life and their mission and their impact by design in their life. And so we're very close working together in research, but also very close working together with industry and partners. That's it from my point of view.
Yeah, thank you very much for all this precision. And Nicole and Jacqueline, have your schools developed a strategy for archiving a student project in fields evolving as industrial design, film, or digital arts? Nicole, perhaps first. Just before to hear Jacqueline. To hear the question, Nicole?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yes, we have different systems, so to say. One point, what we think, what's really difficult in a way, when we look back somehow, and with every year there will be way more data, way more artifacts. So there is somehow a need of a different or new way of archives. So first of all, we for sure we have analog archives, so to say, in all the Studiengänge. We collect projects. We call it living archives somehow. That also means that we go directly to students to ask for some of the artifacts we can store at ours or archive at ours. And they are also open for public or for everybody. So this means it's not just a storage where we store everything. It's really as well open. And we work as well with all those archives. If I mention fashion design, this is like part of the studies. Students can use them as well. Then we have for sure the whole digital part, and it's really close at ours to Medienarchiv, linked to Nebis, where all the student reportings, thesis works are collected as well. We have Next Generation. This is a platform, an internal platform for all the thesis works for bachelor and masters. And I think what's perhaps could be a topic we spoke about often, if you Google an object, you can see who is the owner of the object, or who is the seller, where can I get it, where is it archived, is it in a museum? And we think with other technologies there must be must be a solution as well for universities where we can link our project with.
Thank you. And Jacqueline?
Thank you, Nicole. I had the possibility to come to your place and see your archive, and I was jealous because we do not have such a big space. We do have some spaces in, the textile department or in the object design department. But of course, we do have the archive digitalized. And this is something we'd really would like to renew and bring in another form. But I think this is really most important in these days also, because a lot of people are just, they just want to do their research online. But nevertheless, I think if we would have the privilege to have such a big space just to get, an archive, and I think Jan-Christoph and we are also talking about new laboratories and new ways of working together and working in the workshops. Of course, in the workshops, we do have some spaces where we can, leave the objects, but every year there are new students coming, new objects coming, and this is why we don't have it in this a very convincing way as it is in this industrial design department as I've seen it. But I think on the digital side that we are really going a very good way, also for the bachelor thesis and master thesis, because we had an old one. And as you know, in institutions, sometimes this kind of new processes takes a bit longer than we would wish. But now it's coming better and better every day. Yeah.
Maybe just a short side note. I'm impressed what I see here in the exhibition from some of the historic things like Pierre Keller's works with the students, which I always just saw as a picture. So that's fantastic to have it in a museum setting. I also want to make a point that there is a junior design research conference where all the Swiss design colleges come together to collect and to present essentially the master theses every year. And I think that's something very, very special. It doesn't exist something like that in Europe or in the rest of the world. It's good for the exchange between the different other faculty, but also particularly the networking of the students, and then collecting, sucking up every year the thesis and putting it in a digital archive. I think that's a fantastic step, maybe even better as an individual archive of a university.
And to complete perhaps what you said, your student projects often depend on constantly evolving technologies. And how do you manage the archiving of these projects, taking into account the ephemeral nature of the speed of technological advances? Perhaps it's a both question for you and also for Werner Baumhakl. Who begin? Yeah.
I mean, if you talk about spatial computing, it's damn difficult to preserve or to collect the data sets and provide these experiences which you were able to experiment on location. Similar, we are opening up a new biofab lab, and there again, similar. How do you preserve this? How do you actually make that tangibly? I mean, there you need to work in a scientific way, document the processes and the results and the outcomes. But yes, how do you archive some of these learnings? It's not anymore about the look and feel, but it's really about the shift of mindsets. How do you archive that? I don't know.
Is it the same for you, Thomas, Werner?
Yeah, Marco, that's the $1 million question. How can we handle infinitive content? And I think that's a question. We're here. That's the reason why we're meeting here. Thank you for the compliments first, Jacqueline. We do have that space, that's true, but that's also, let's say, a commitment to accepting gaps, accepting unperfectness somehow, because you never can collect everything. But we strongly believe in the power of objects because our daily life is written by objects. We are attracted by it. We have some relationships to it. So you said it's a big space. I think it's a very small one from our point of view. But anyhow, we think we have to have that kind of space that is transporting more than only the objects. So we try to keep it always alive. We try to change things. And because we are not a museum, because we are not, our mainly business is having archives like the legacy of society. We can't afford that. Our job is to educate people and to make research. We allow ourselves to do it in a very casual way. So we don't have a register. We have it more like a, how you call it? I only know the German word, sorry for that. It's not an archive. We have a fundus, like a theater, where you stuff in everything of every performance you had before, but there is no clear order, no register. So it's a bit hard like that. And the more structured part is really the digital archive, and then the problems still continue. There's so many stuff. We always talk about terabytes and hundreds of terabytes and so on. We're not talking about gigabytes anymore. The formats are different. When you come into art, it's not the actual technology. They use all TVs, they use VHS. So the problem is really a very complex one, and it needs the power of all to discuss that, and the museums have a very important role in that game. But we try to have a very simple system for the basic things for the students. So we have an archive. I have to be really calm to say that is more than 12 years old, but there's everything in. And since 12 years, we work on the new all-inclusive system that handles everything, but we don't have it yet. So that means this is a project we are launching at the universities, and you can imagine if you have art, if you have design, if you have different professions in design and art, it gets very complex, and the requests from the different study programs are very different as well. So that means somehow there has to be a compromise between handling it, between maintaining it, and also filling it, because the students, they see no need to work hours and hours to fill in their project. They do it on Insta, and they're not really likely to stay for hours to fill in our archive. So that's really an approach we have, and we have to have smart solutions. And it's not so easy to have that long-lasting idea of the museum that is lasting for hundreds of years and collecting everything. So I'm really keen on your answers as well as trying to give you our answers on it.
Thank you. Very interesting. Thank you very much. Perhaps a question for all of you. What's the major challenge that your schools are preparing the student for now? For yourself and for the school? We can begin. Yeah. It's not easy, I know. Perhaps we begin by Nicole and after Jacqueline.
I think we started 2 years ago with the new master program at Holz, where the fashion, industrial design, and scenographers work together. And we understood when we very first, it was also all about budget and so on. And when we started, we then understood before we were more thinking in a disciplinary way. And I think the benefit we already see in project, what happened during those study years, we think this is like a really good way to go into future. What Werner said before, at ours, it's not just research. We really want to have persons or biographies that's all those persons can work as a designer afterwards, in which field ever, but in a wider form as a designer, and not that they are have to wait for funding money, whatever, that they really can work as designers in big companies, in small companies. And this means, I think, one part is reality check always, and how to work to come together with industry. This is a really big point, and that the word, is it an industrial designer, fashion designer, or scenographer, it doesn't exist anymore. I really think they somehow invent as well design a little bit in a new way, and there, I think it's also the way we can learn as the oldies somehow, but also guide and support them, because there are like old rules and new rules, and they come together. And I think to develop a new future of design as well, this is one of the big parts.
Thank you. Jacqueline?
I think if you look at the different examples Jan-Christoph had made at the beginning of this round, it is interesting that these are all young people who have a need to change something. And this is something which I really do like, that young students see something, develop an idea, and try to make sense how they could design a better future. It's a difficult word, this better, but nevertheless, a kind of a future they think is going to be more stable, probably less risky, in a sense that they're not. I mean, we live in a world filled with crises. Every time you read the newspapers, then you can see we do have a lot of crises all around the planet, and where to start. And I think this is something which I think is really important for our institutions, that we give the young students the space and the place and the guidance or the coaching of good teachers in order to develop an idea that they can change a part of a system, a small one, but so they can make an impetus. They have an impact, and I think this is really interesting and also absolutely important for our institutions to give this kind of possibility. And the other thing is, what you really need is you have to think differently, or to think critically as a student, also as a teacher, also as a director of a school, because every day it could be different. And I think this is something which we really have to have in mind, that we have to be flexible also to learn from the students and also from the teachers in order to bring the institution in a different future. Because I think if you look at the development of different design schools online, I mean, why do students need us? I mean, this is a critical question you could ask. I mean, they can go through the internet and find different tutorials, and they're very clever, very fast in order to find out how the programs work, etc. Why do they need us? And this is a question we also have to ask ourselves. And I think this kind of connection we are offering, and relationships we are offering, workshops, all the different people, all the different students coming together in order to set up an idea and to realize that this is our gift we can give the students. But yeah, I think I mean, the world changes definitely very fast, but nevertheless we still speak with each other, which I think is good because I think this is the basis of a good education, to be in a dialogue and to speak with all the different teachers, students, in order to change their own mindset, probably. I think this is an adventure anyway.
Yeah. Thank you. Jan-Christoph, do you want to add something?
Shortly, we really see that students move from problem solving to defining social intervention spaces. We really encourage them to find these big, hairy, audacious goals, stuff which we haven't thought about, to identify and then to prototype them. And so this goes particularly in these areas of systems design, transformational approaches, eco-social dimensions. And so this case moves a little bit from traditional practice-based approaches to how do they fit into bureaucracy or into a foundation or become a strategic planner. So these are some of these challenges. We don't know how it always goes, but we are satisfied with some of our initial results over the last few years where our graduates go to.
And Werner? Nothing to add? All is said.
So yes,
Yeah.
I can add try to do it shortly. So for me, there are different levels in the bachelor level. The students want to get the very best education they can. They start from a white sheet of paper, so they really want to learn. They want to see what tools can I have, how do I think about things, how can I understand things, how can I find my own position. In the master, it's a bit different. The questions are more complicated, the answers are more individualized. From my point of view, there are clear challenges for the design job. Of course, we have always a discussion of design culture. That's an important thing, but was always like that. The next level, Jacqueline also mentioned, it's material and sustainability. We have to change. We are, as designers, we have a special role producing and thinking objects and processes that are really have consequences in that case. And the last very hard aspect for designers and substituting their own contribution is AI from my point of view. There is so many people, so many things changing. It's about using the outcome we produce as designers and artists, which is feeded, which the artificial intelligence is feeded by. It's the question, what is the generic part of a designer? Is he just collecting and curating others' ideas? These are really tough questions to answer coming up. And we try to prepare our students to have a kind of conscious way handling new technologies without avoiding it. So I would say, actually, if you say there's a flashlight, what are you thinking about? Of course, it's sustainability, but at the moment, we're really looking for new answers concerning the topic of AI within the context of design.
Thank you. Someone present have a question or something to say? Perhaps each of you a last word about this question of archive and history of design. A last words.
For me, it's really interesting about the impact, to understand what certain institutions, schools, or individual designers or design teams had on the territory, on the innovation capabilities of Switzerland or of the communities where they came from. And so that will be the challenge. How do we assess that? How do we document the impact? How do we evaluate it?
Someone wish a last word? If it's not, I wish really to thank you to be with us late this afternoon to discuss about this question of archive, history, memory, and teaching in School of Art and Design. It's very interesting for us at mudac to understand, to have ideas for future and to make our own archives and history. So thank you very much to be with us, and hope to see you soon in Lucerne and Basel to visit your archive, your schools, and your department of design, etc. You are welcome at mudac Lausanne, and we are also your museum, so don't hesitate to come, and you're welcome. So the museum will close. So thank you very much. And
thank you very much.
see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you as well. Thank you. It was
Soon.
great.